If you're looking for a nice compact e-bike that is great for hauling things but is not too big that it's hard to handle the e-bike itself, then you might be interested in this Velotric Go 1. When you first take a look at this e-bike, I think it looks really sharp. I really like this blue, green, aqua color. I don't know what color it is, but it looks really sharp on this e-bike. And I like the accents of this teal or blue color as well, mixed with the black handlebars, the black tires, rims, everything. I think it looks really nice. Moving on to the handlebars, I really like the way these look as well. They kind of almost look like BMX handlebars, the way they kind of come down like this and then they have one bar across. I really like the way it looks, and it just feels like you have more space because now the headlight is down a little bit and now I still have room for some accessories here. So I really like the handlebars on this e-bike. It comes with a 7-speed shifter, trigger shifter right here, and it also has your control dial on the left hand side with the bell and then your left-handed thumb throttle. To me, Velotric does a great job with all their e-bikes with their display screen. This looks so nice. It's so easy to read. You can see your battery level here. You can see your pedal assist, your trip or your odometer that you have here. I love the display screen. It's so easy to see and it just looks really clean and sharp. Also, when you're taking a look at these handlebars, they have hydraulic disc brakes right here. So this is really nice on an e-bike like this. That way it gives you enough stopping power. So this is 125 pounds of weight in the back here, and the weight capacity is actually only 120, so I'm exceeding it by 5 pounds because I really want to put this to the test to see how well it actually works. A lot of times when I see people review cargo e-bikes, they never actually haul anything, so I want to see what it's like with all this weight in the back. Does it still handle fine? Does the motor have a hard time pulling all this weight, or is it going to be fine? That's what we're here to test out, so here we go. Yeah! Not bad, actually. Whoa! Don't hit the tree. It's actually not as bad as I thought. It still feels a little wobbly. When I go slower, it's definitely more noticeable than when I go fast. I can feel the weight kind of carry me side to side a little bit when I'm turning, but I was still able to manage hauling this around, and like, I doubt people have 120 pounds of groceries that they have, so it's probably really good for the average carry, but I wanted to test this thing out to the max and see how it holds up. But it's a little wobbly, but hey, when you're strong like me, I can manhandle this, and this e-bike, it still gets me where I need to go. Seemed to work okay, I guess. There's a lot of weight back here. I definitely feel like it's too much on the frame. If it had like not a step-through frame but an extra bar here, it probably would feel a little better versus there's like a little bit of wiggle in the frame here, so that's something I noticed. But again, this thing is over the weight capacity, so I'm really putting this to the test. Let's try again. Don't run into the house. Yeah, once I get going, it's actually not that bad. It's actually still not that bumpy, even though I'm riding through the grass here and like it's bucking a little bit. It's still not bad. Still brakes fine, so the brakes can handle all this weight, so I'm actually pretty pleased with it. See if I can kickstand it now. Ugh. Boom. You can also see on this e-bike that it has a front headlight and it also has a rear tail light. So I love when e-bikes integrate lights into it. It just is so nice to help you be visible at nighttime or at dusk, and that way you don't have to rely on an external battery to power it. I love that it's powered by the e-bike itself. Taking a look at this part of the e-bike, you can see that it has nice shocks for riding on smooth surfaces and even bumpy gravel roads. And then it also has 20-inch by 3-inch tires. So these are a little bit less of a diameter than other e-bikes. It's a little bit smaller of a wheel, but it's a little bit wider. So average tires are 26 inches by 2 inches. These are 20 inches by 3 inches. So they give you a little extra width to help go over top of bumps or gravel or anything like that, but they are a little bit smaller in diameter, which I noticed that it just makes it a little bit smaller to be able to hop on and off really easily. It's just a little bit more condensed of a bike without having the 26-inch wheels on it. Moving on to the back side of this e-bike, I added this accessory on it. It's a rear basket, and the basket looks awesome. I mean, it's a nice metal frame, and then it has this nice cloth material that you can take out or on just by the Velcro straps right here on the sides, and it also has an inside pocket right here, which is super nice. So this is an added accessory that I got for it, which I think it's awesome for hauling groceries or anything like that. If you have to put something in it, it's really nice to do that. Underneath the basket though is actually the rear rack, which holds up to 120 pounds on this little rear rack, which is a lot of weight for how small it is. And then underneath this rear rack, it already comes with this protection piece right here to help when you have kids that they don't get their feet caught in the spokes or the tires or anything like that. It's nice that it comes included with this in case you want to get a kid's seat to put here instead of a basket. After getting some time to take this e-bike for a ride, I actually was really surprised at how it handled and how smooth it was. I was a little bit nervous because it has smaller tires, so I felt like it was just going to be a rougher ride, but really it was very smooth. It still handled really nicely. I think the fact that the tires are a little bit thicker and the fact that it has front suspension and a nice soft seat, I really feel like it was a smooth and comfortable ride. I also noticed that this e-bike feels like a good size. Sometimes e-bikes, especially fat tire ones, can feel big and large, especially if you're a shorter person. They can just feel a little bit bigger than a normal bike. But this one, being a little bit smaller wheels, I feel like they just condensed also the size of the frame. Feels a little bit just smaller. It feels like the handlebars reach me a little bit closer. It feels like they're a little bit lower versus being up high on this huge bike. So I felt like it was actually really nicely sized. I'm around 5'10", 160 pounds, and to me this fit me very comfortably. I actually think that being a little bit more compact of an e-bike, it just felt easier to handle. I could turn and maneuver around corners a little bit easier. It just felt a little bit lighter to move, especially the fact that you're going to be hauling stuff. So if you have 120 pounds in the back of this, then you want something that's a little bit easier to handle. It's sometimes awful if you have this huge, bulky, big bike and then you add weight to the back of it. That can just feel really heavy and clunky. And then you get the added bonus that it's an e-bike, so it can propel you forward a lot faster and smoother when you actually are hauling things. This e-bike has 5 levels of pedal assist and it goes up to 20 miles an hour. You can actually unlock faster speeds if you want to go 25 miles an hour, but that usually kills your battery a little bit faster. So I like to keep it at 20 just so I get longer range in one e-bike trip, because you can go up to 55 miles on one trip with this e-bike, and I think you can go 48 miles if you throttle only. So you still get great mileage if you just hold down the throttle for the whole ride, or if you actually use pedal assist and pedal the bike, then it will get you longer range as well. Something I did notice while I was riding is that when I was going over bumpy terrain, the basket, the little cloth part that sits on the metal frame, that rattles a little bit just because it's loose. So I wonder if I can strap it a little bit tighter. That way there's no wiggle room for that cloth piece to move on that rear rack. I think that will reduce some of the noise, because when I'm going over bumps, I hear it just rattling a little bit, and it's just the cloth piece that sits inside of it. The actual structure and frame was very solid. It didn't rattle at all or anything like that. The seat is really nice on this. It's nice and squishy. I don't know if it's gel or foam or what it has in it. Another awesome thing about this e-bike is that it has this double kickstand down here so that you can prop the bike up straight. That way you can load it without having your bike leaning to the side. So this is super nice if you have to load children. Then you don't have to worry about holding the bike and balancing it while you're loading them. Kids can easily climb up in the seat and your e-bike won't tip over. Then all you have to do to unlock it is just roll it forwards, and then you're good to go. So it's super easy to use this style kickstand, and it just makes it a little more sturdy in my opinion. This e-bike also pairs with the Find My app on your phone so that you can locate it wherever it's at, which is really convenient. If you ever lose your e-bike or misplace it or someone takes it from you, you'll know exactly where they are. So those are some of the features of this e-bike. Let me know what you think about how it looks and all the features that it has. Does this meet your needs, or do you wish it had some sort of different accessories or setup. Overall, I'm actually really pleased with this e-bike. I feel like the small size really accommodates me well. I feel like it's really comfortable to ride this thing actually, and although I exceeded the maximum weight capacity, I was still able to ride it and the motor still handled it. It definitely was a little bit more shaky and wobbly. I wouldn't recommend exceeding the weight limit on it, but you could still ride it. But I do notice that it is a little bit harder on the motor, and it definitely does feel a little bit shaky. But if you're using this for typical use, like getting groceries, hauling your kids, which are probably 60-pound kids or 70 or even 80-pound kids, that shouldn't be a problem at all. So I really feel like this is a great option. And if you do want to haul a little bit heavier loads, then you can get their Velotric Packer e-bike, which allows you a maximum weight capacity of 176 pounds in the rear rack. So consider that one if you do want to upgrade to get more weight. But I feel like this is a great option for a nice compact e-bike. You get a rear rack that holds a lot of weight to be able to hold kids. You got the feet protectors on there. So if you're interested in it, I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on another one.